Hello, this is Farmer with a Gun back coming with another reloading video for you, and today we're going to be talking about case mouth flaring. Now, generally, case mouth flaring is regarded as a mandatory step when reloading any straight-walled cartridge, which obviously 99% of your pistol cartridges are going to be straight-walled. For example, your 38 Special or your 9mm. But we're going to see, is it really as mandatory as they say? And you could go really in depth on this if you wanted. Today we're going to make it quick and easy, and maybe we'll come back later and experiment with a few other conditions. So to start things off, we're using all federal brass, and this is all once fired. This has all been resized and deprimed. So we'll go ahead and get started. The only difference is this is federal stamped and this is FC, federal cartridge stamped. So we'll see if there's really any difference here. The other thing, it's generally said that if you're loading cast lead bullets and not jacketed bullets, you need to add just a little bit more flair to your case. This is because generally a cast lead bullet will come out to a 1,000th of an inch bigger or so. So first up, we're going to do our 38 Special, and we're going to do 3 of them. And keep in mind, none of these have been flared. This is just your standard Lee seating and crimp die. So we're going to go ahead and take our federal case and our 158 grain semi-wad cutter, and it kind of sits on there because it does have a beveled end. We'll try and seat it. We're going to see what happened. And it went in okay, but you can see the lead kinda, we'll see if it'll focus in there. The lead kinda peeled off a little bit on our case mouth. So let's do one more to see if we get any different results. And like I said, these case mouths are, or not case mouths, these bullets are beveled a little bit, so they'll go in just a little bit easier than a jacketed bullet. So we'll do this again. Oh, that one felt really tough. Let's pull it out and see what happened. Oh yeah, this one peeled a lot of lead off. You see that? You got a nice little ring around there, and then you can see around the case mouth where it peeled all that lead off. So we'll do our last one, but I don't really have high hopes for it. And this is interesting. This actually came in the box without any lube on it, but that doesn't really matter for what we're doing right here. So, a lot of resistance there. You can kind of hear it clunk in. You pull that out, and it's almost like the lead made a little boot that went over the casing there, if you can see that. If camera will focus in for me. Yeah. So, we've pretty well figured out that that is a mandatory step, because I have heard guys claim that no, you don't need to do that, you don't need to do that. I find that most of the time those guys are kind of blowing it out of their rear. You do in fact have to do that, and I'm demonstrating right now that you really do need to flare your case mouth. So now we'll go ahead and screw in our 9mm seating die, take out our Lee No. 1 shell holder, and stick in our Lee No. 19 shell holder. Actually, I believe that's number 1. Yeah, it's number 1. Alright, so next up, our 9mm, and seating a standard 125 grain lead round nose here. And yeah, wow, these won't even set in the case any, so these might have an interesting result. A lot of resistance going in. We'll bring it out, see what happened. And this time it wasn't as bad, but you can see again that there is that little bit of a boot on the casing. So we'll go ahead and do it to our next one. Slide it in there. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to try and press that in, because these are beveled a little bit as well on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and try and set that in there just a little bit so that it's not as big of a pain to get in there. Yeah, a lot of resistance, and yeah, this time you can see the lead's really marked up, but this one actually doesn't look terrible. If you take that away, this one actually, I would run that bullet. Oops. I would run that all day. I would not be afraid to run that in my gun. Then again, I shoot a Glock, so I'll run just about anything in that sucker. Our last one. Let's see what happens. Come on, little buddy. Alright. That one went in fairly easy, and again, it seems to be the same story with this one. That no lead is coming off of the bullet, it's not shaving any off. And again, I would not be afraid to run this. What I thought was going to happen, especially on the 38s being such a long case, was that the case would buckle. That didn't happen. We saw what happened here. I would be curious to know if I had a jacketed bullet, what would happen. Unfortunately, I don't have any 38 jacketed bullets on hand right now. I don't have any jacketed 9mm either. So maybe we'll have to make a part 2 to this, but for now, generally, you can probably go ahead and say that 9mm does not require a lot of flare. Go ahead and flare that. I flare my 9mm a very minimal amount anyways. In fact, we'll go ahead and demonstrate here. We'll go ahead and stick in my 9mm flaring die. We're going to have to touch the camera here for a minute and adjust it to get my die out. So that I can show you the about exact amount of flare that I like to add to my 9mm. So go ahead and screw that in. This is, again, this is the whole Lee set. It's the Lee 3 die set. Great value there. Alright, so that's screwed in, and let's grab another case. This time it's a Winchester case. Yeah, it's probably not once fired. This probably got 3 or 4 loadings in it, but go ahead and run it up in there. And you can see it's got a little bit of flare to it, but not a hell of a lot. Just enough to get a bullet in there without shaving lead off and without buckling the case. When you add too much flare, it tends to overwork the brass, and you'll get less loadings out of it. You want to work the brass the least amount that you can, because the reason brass wears out is as it expands and contracts and expands and contracts, it weakens it, and then that's when you're going to see cracks and other defects happen. So naturally, the more flare you add to it, the more stress that you are conducting onto your brass. So obviously always go with the minimal amount of flare, and you're going to have to figure out, because I think it really all comes down to the kinds of bullets that you will be seating. A jacketed bullet, like here, is not going to require as much flare compared to a cast lead bullet. So anyways, that's me talking about case mouth flaring. Is it mandatory? Absolutely. So don't forget to subscribe, and we're going to try and make this a weekly thing, maybe a bi-weekly thing, to just talk about something reloading related, or gun related, or maybe even farming related. Until next time, this is Farmer with a Gun, and you guys take it easy.